touch me.
Okay.
She didn't get to touch me, no. She was going to touch me, but she didn't get to touch me.
Cardi B has always had a way of turning her life into a spectacle, whether intentionally or not, and her most recent appearance in court proves that once again. This time, though, the drama didn't come from an Instagram rant or a Twitter back and forth. It came from sworn testimony, a moment under oath where Cardi chose to let something slip that no one was expecting. In the middle of what was supposed to be a standard civil case appearance, she ended up giving the internet a brand new mass to chew on, a claim that Chrisean had once slept with Offset back when Cardi was still fighting to hold her marriage together. The wild part is that nobody in the courtroom asked her about Offset or Chrisean. This wasn't a subpoenaed detail or a line of questioning the lawyers were pressing. It came out unprovoked, like it had been sitting inside Cardi for years and finally burst out into the open. And the reaction was immediate. For some people, her words sounded like long overdue honesty, confirmation of a rumor that had floated around but never been nailed down. For others, it felt messy and unnecessary, like Cardi was reopening wounds for no reason other than spite. Either way, once she said it in court, the statement took on a weight gossip blogs could only dream of. It wasn't hearsay anymore, it was sworn testimony. Now, Offset's history meant that people were inclined to believe it almost instantly. His reputation has long been one of chaos and infidelity. From early on in his relationship with Cardi, rumors about cheating followed him like a shadow. He's been linked to models, influencers, even women who were quick to go public about alleged flings. Fans got so used to seeing Cardi forgive him, take him back, then explode with frustration later, that this new confession slid right into the existing narrative. The boy who cried fidelity image he carries made Cardi's slip seem less like drama and more like confirmation of what people already assumed. On the other side of the triangle is Chrisean, who at the time of the alleged encounter was still fully immersed in the chaos of her toxic relationship with Blueface. Back then, she was a constant source of viral clips, fighting in the streets, smashing bottles, crying into her phone camera like life itself was a soap opera. Her brand was dysfunction, so when Cardi said she had been with Offset, it almost made too much sense to people. Nobody blinked because Chrisean was already seen as someone unpredictable and destructive. The problem is that in 2025, Chrisean is trying to rebrand herself. She's a mother now. She's softened in some ways, speaking publicly about growth and change, even showing flashes of maturity. Having Cardi dredge up old stories threatens that new image. It pulls her right back into the chaos she's been trying to distance herself from, like ripping open a scar that was finally beginning to heal. Cardi's choice to say it in court raised questions about her motives. If she's really done with Offset, as she claims, why bring this up now? Why not let it rest? Some argued she was looking for closure, reclaiming her voice after years of humiliation. Others saw it as bitterness, proof that the betrayal still lingers in her spirit. Whatever her reasoning, her words carried power because of where she said them. In a courtroom, there's no playing it off as gossip. It goes into the record. And that makes the sting sharper for everyone involved. The internet predictably exploded. Body Gang defended their queen, saying she had every right to tell her truth. Chrisean's supporters clapped back, calling Cardi bitter and accusing her of dragging a mother back into drama unnecessarily. And then, of course, there were the trolls who turned it all into memes, christening Offset with nicknames like Community Property and laughing at the situation like it was just another episode of a never-ending reality show. Offset, meanwhile, said nothing. No denial, no cryptic emoji, no statement. Silence has become his default, and that silence is deafening. For a man with his track record, keeping quiet only makes the story feel more believable. People are conditioned to expect the worst from him, so even if he's innocent this time, the benefit of the doubt doesn't exist. His silence isn't seen as maturity or restraint. It's seen as guilt. What makes the whole episode sting even more is how familiar it feels. These celebrity love triangles, built on betrayal and spectacle, are nothing new. We've seen them play out time and time again. Think back to Chris Brown, Rihanna, and Karrueche Tran, years of speculation, rumors, and messy headlines that kept the blogs working overtime. Or Khloe Kardashian, Tristan Thompson, and Jordan Woods, the public needed no proof, only chaos to decide who was the villain and who was the victim. The formula is always the same: a man with a wandering eye, women caught in the crossfire, and the internet playing judge, jury, and executioner. Offset's role fits perfectly into that archetype. Like Future, whose endless list of baby mamas makes every new allegation instantly believable, Offset has built a reputation that ensures any rumor about him will be taken as truth. Cardi is the fiery wife who forgave too many times until she couldn't anymore, oscillating between vulnerability and vengeance. And Chrisean is the wild card, someone who thrives on unpredictability, who could either deny it all with terse or lean into it for clout. Each player's track record makes the rumor stickier, harder to dismiss. Cardi's brand has always been about radical honesty. She doesn't bottle things up, she exposes them, sometimes in ways that cut her too. Think about Offset crashing her Rolling Loud set with flowers and signs begging for forgiveness. That moment became a symbol of her willingness to forgive publicly even after humiliation. But her pattern is clear. She forgives, tries again, gets hurt, and then exposes the pain. Her courtroom slip fits right into that cycle, only this time the stage wasn't a festival or Instagram Live. It was a courtroom, which gave it a permanence and seriousness her other outbursts didn't have. For Chrisean, the timing is especially brutal. She's been trying to reinvent herself, stepping away from the blue-face drama and leaning into motherhood and faith. Even if she denies Cardi's claim, the association with Offset re-anchors her to the chaos of her past. Growth narratives are fragile, and one rumor can undo months of careful image building. Fans might forgive her, but the internet rarely does. Offset, as usual, suffers in silence. His reputation was already shredded, and now even being linked to Chrisean is another blow. The irony is that Cardi's statement wasn't really about Chrisean or even Offset. It was about control. For so long, Offset's actions defined her public image. She was the wife constantly embarrassed by her husband's wandering eye. By speaking out, Cardi reclaimed some of that narrative. She said, "Yes, this happened, and I won't let you forget it." But in doing so, she also reminded the world that Offset's mess is part of her story too, whether she likes it or not. The fallout is complicated. Cardi walks away looking like the fearless truth-teller, the woman who refuses to let herself be humiliated in silence. But at the same time, it exposes that she's still carrying those wounds, still bleeding in public over a man she claims to be finished with. Chrisean gets yanked backward into her most chaotic era, forced to relive the reckless image she's been trying to shed. Offset remains the silent villain, guilty by default, his silence amplifying his reputation as untrustworthy. The fans, of course, thrive on the chaos. They fuel the narrative, spin it into memes, hashtags, and think pieces. That's how gossip survives, not because of facts, but because of spin. Cardi's confession gave it legs, Chrisean's unpredictability feeds it, and Offset's silence lets it marinate. What makes this story resonate is how archetypal it is. It's not about love so much as ego, image, and public perception. In these triangles, the man's behavior is usually the root of the problem, but it's the women who end up branded as villains or victims. Cardi has flipped her role from scorned wife to bold truth-teller. Chrisean is cast as the betrayer. Offset is the inevitable common denominator, the man nobody expected to be faithful in the first place. And so the saga continues, not because the story is new, but because the faces are. Hollywood and hip-hop have been recycling this drama for decades. What changes are the names and the platforms. Instead of tabloids, it's Instagram Live. Instead of whispers in clubs, it's sworn testimony in court. But the outcome is always the same: messy men hurt women, and the public feeding on the spectacle like it's entertainment. In the end, Cardi's confession may serve her more than it hurts her. Her fans admire her brutal honesty, and her willingness to air out the truth reinforces her brand as someone unafraid of embarrassment. But it also ties her back to Offset in a way she might regret, because the world sees that his betrayals are still part of her narrative. Chrisean has to decide whether to clap back, deny, or ignore it altogether, knowing that each choice could either damage her rebrand or fuel her notoriety. And Offset, as always, lives in the shadow of his own reputation, where silence is as damning as confession. What started as a stray courtroom comment spiraled into a full-blown cultural moment, because that's how it always goes with Cardi B. She doesn't just make news. She creates storms, and this one, involving herself, Offset, and Chrisean Rock, is just the latest chapter in a story we've all seen before but can't stop watching. It's messy, it's painful, it's unnecessary, and it's captivating, because in the end, these stories are less about the truth and more about what the public chooses to believe.